A girl stands over the railway tracks, excited that she finally finished her romance novel that she was reading. She prepares to jump. A group of people gather behind her, separated by only a thin railing. They urge her not to do it, but she turns, brandishing a knife at them. She shouts to the whole crowd that if they touch her, they'll contract an incurable disease and die. She has nothing to live for with a body like this, and that's why she has to jump. Looking down, she realizes that she'll need to catch the next train since she missed this one. Only for a man to walk out of the crowd while she's distracted, impaling himself on her kitchen knife. Shocked, she turns around and cries out, obviously not meaning to stab this man, and yet he seems entirely unfazed. He grabs her by the throat, excited to contract this horrific disease, and sets her back down after just a moment. He's trying to figure out what's going to happen when the girl looks up horrified, warning him that it's coming, her unluck. At that moment, in a freak accident, the walkway beneath this mysterious man crumbles, dropping him directly into the path of an oncoming train where he's instantly torn to bits. The girl watches on helplessly, knowing that her unluck dragged yet another innocent person into a horrific situation just because she didn't have the courage to leap earlier. But as she's thinking to herself, the mysterious man from earlier reappears, his head speaking on its own, then fully regenerating his body. He understands now. She doesn't actually have a disease, but this power to be unlucky, which means that they have something in common. Welcome to Undead Unluck, the comedy adventure manga with one of the coolest power systems I have ever seen. This is Fuko, and this is Andy, and we're gonna talk more about them here in just a second, but you need to understand some other things first. See, this series moves at a fucking breakneck speed. Issue 1, the two main characters meet, and in issue 12 they fight a god. So buckle up as I explain what the fuck is actually happening in this series. It all started with Apocalypse. Apocalypse is this sick talking book, also known as the Book of Revelations, which may sound familiar to all my holy bros out there. It's an artifact, a powerful tool that breaks the rules of the world in some way, and gives a variety of quests that can be completed in order to postpone the end of the world, which is definitely coming and way faster than anyone expected. Speaking of the rules of the world, let's talk about the main driving point in this series, UMAs. UMA stands for Unidentified Mysterious Animals, which I'm not sure is an accurate description, but hey, I don't make the rules. But UMAs do. Whenever a quest given by Apocalypse is failed or expires, whether it was accepted or not, a new UMA is created, and as long as it exists, it enforces some sort of rule in the world. That sounds confusing, so again, let me explain. Take Galaxy, for example. Galaxy is an UMA that embodies, well, the galaxy. Before it was created, the galaxy didn't exist, it was just Earth. But the second that that UMA manifested, hundreds of thousands of other planets and stars suddenly appeared, and will remain there as long as the galaxy UMA is alive. Not only that, when it was created, memories and information of the galaxy were instantly created in the minds of every person, meaning that the entire world now thinks that the galaxy has been around for thousands of years. Hundreds of books have been written on it, and it's a totally normal thing, even though it was literally created 9 seconds ago. So you may be wondering, okay, so UMAs make rules. I mean, that sounds fine, and these rules seem to just be the rules of our regular world. So why are they a penalty from the quest log, and why are they a threat that's going to end the world? The issue doesn't come from the rules themselves, it's the way all the rules are stacking up. For example, before Galaxy existed, aliens didn't exist. But now they do. Oh, and they're at war with Earth. Every new UMA creates some horrific complication that makes life more difficult. Nothing rotted before spoil. The weather was always pleasant before the seasons. No one needed to drink before thirst. And no one died before death. So now the question becomes, how the fuck do you save the world from the literal embodiment of death? Well, all hope is not lost. Enter the negators. Negators are people who possess two important abilities. One, they're immune to the memory influence of Umas, meaning that they know when a new rule is created and need to learn about it through regular humans. And two, they're able to negate a single rule of the world. See where this is going? The title wasn't lying. This power system rules. Negators are fucking awesome. Take our main characters for example. Andy is undead, meaning he can't die. His body regenerates from any damage, disease, age, decay, anything. It doesn't matter. Fuko, on the other hand, is a bit more complex. She is, of course, the negator of unluck, but that's not nearly as self-explanatory as Undead was. Fuko doesn't make herself unlucky, she negates the luck of anyone else she touches. This sounds incredibly stupid, but only before you realize the extent that it works to. It's actually one of the strongest abilities in the series. How unlucky you become is proportional to how long you were in contact, how much of her you touched, and how much she likes you. If a stranger bumps into her in the hallway, a loose brick might fall on their head. It'll probably hurt a lot and knock them out, but all things considered, that's not too bad. But if you do something stupid like try to give her a hug, you're going to take a very quick one-way trip to an early grave when you're hit by a fucking meteor. And that's where the dynamic of our two main characters come into play. Andy has been alive for thousands of years and really wants to die, and Fuko has never had anyone to share experiences with because she always accidentally kills them, meaning that now Fuko can spend time with someone who she won't kill, and Andy can eventually get her to like him enough that he can find a true death. And that is a really fucking good setup for a story. Every negator has incredible abilities, and they're used in tons of really creative and unique ways. Untouchable disintegrates anything around them. Unavoidable forces you to freeze when they attack. Untruth forces you to do the opposite of what you meant, and perhaps the coolest ability belongs to the leader of the Union, the group of negators working to stop Apocalypse. Uis, negator of... Well, I'm not going to spoil that here. But like any good adventure or action story, the characters need to get stronger. They need to show growth. You may be thinking that these abilities seem very set in stone, very one note, so how would they improve? And again, the answer is super cool and creative. A negator's ability functions depending on how they interpret it. The best example of this is Unseen. His ability starts out incredibly simple. When he closes his eyes, he and anything that he considers his property turns invisible. Cool, makes sense. But as his interpretation of being unseen evolves, so does his ability. First, he expands it to making others invisible as well, as they're not his property, but they're still his friends, meaning he has ownership over that bond. Eventually, people begin to notice him through weight, and this once again causes his ability to evolve. If he's detected by scales, then he's not really unseen, right? So now he can also negate the weight of himself, items, and other people. And all this stemmed from what was originally an invisibility power. The way these powers are used and interpreted are so cool. Unbreakable, unfade, undecrease, undraw. There's so many awesome ways these negators can use their abilities, and team-ups lead to some absolutely incredible fights, which leads us directly into our next discussion. The art fucking rules. The way actions are conveyed, how fast movements are, the expression of characters, it's absolutely awesome. You can tell not just when someone is surprised, but how surprised they are. When a hit hurts someone, and how much. If someone is determined, and how determined they are. This range of emotions and how frequently the story focuses on them helps to not only make those lows feel real low, but to elevate the highs even higher. In preparation for this video, I reread the entire series and got caught up because I was about 60 issues behind. And I fucking gobbled that shit up. I read all 168 chapters as of this video in 2 days because I just couldn't stop. Every page is full of eye candy, every line gives you goosebumps, every new character, team up, and power is interesting, and every mystery is explored. For an adventure comedy series, it does way too good at everything else too. Not only is the adventure awesome and the comedy actually funny, the characters are deep, their stories are sad, and they feel like real people. They get scared and angry and lose hope, but it makes them fight harder and stronger. Like I said before, there are some absolutely euphoric highs and some really, really low lows. And the way it's all woven perfectly together is truly incredible. I guarantee you'll be satisfied in every single chapter of this series. Every single question you have will be answered, it's just a matter of time. Why does this manga seem like it's predicting future events? Why does Andy always have this weird card stuck in his head? And even a question that's never asked. A question you'll only have if you're paying super close attention or if you reread the story like I did. But it's a question that I want to ask here just to rope you in and get you thinking. Why is there a sun in the sky if the galaxy doesn't exist until chapter 19? The world of Undead Unluck is crazy, and sometimes doesn't make sense, but everything that's set up or mentioned has an explanation. And when you hear it, you'll immediately go, oh, that's what that was. And it's so satisfying. Balancing mysteries is a really hard thing to do, but Undead Unluck is really good at setting up and paying them off. If you haven't figured out already, I am a big fan of Undead Unluck, and I'm very excited to see that it's gained enough attention to get an anime later this year. From the trailers so far, the art style looks awesome, so I'm looking forward to see how it turns out. Undead Unluck is an absolutely incredible manga, and I really hope some of you go check it out before it gets animated because it's awesome. With a great story, fantastic characters, satisfying mysteries, and wicked sick artwork, I can't recommend it enough. Its quality is truly undeniable. I'll see you soon.